today's Home Pathshala. It will transform your dream into reality.
Good morning, my dear student. Today we are going to study the comparative analysis of statistical technique. And these topics are very important of our upcoming exam of interesting day. What is the important area of statistical analysis? Are number one, correlation analysis, number two, discriminant analysis, number three, factor analysis, number four, conjoint. Finally, we will compare between this analysis too. First of all, correlation analysis. What is the concept? What do you mean by correlation analysis? Correlation analysis basically measure strength and direction of relationship between variables. Strength and direction of relationship between variables. Number one. What is the type? Basically, type is the descriptive and associative. Important variable of correlation analysis is the matching. What is the outcome of correlation analysis? The outcome is correlation coefficient R. And what are the uses of correlation analysis? Basically, use of correlation analysis, income versus expenditure, price versus demand. What are the important note we have to keep in our mind? That correlation analysis does not imply the causation. Does not imply the causation. Next important area, discriminant analysis. Discriminant analysis classifies observation into predefined group. This point is very important. In the case of discriminant analysis, it is a predefined group. Discriminant analysis, a predefined group. And the type of discriminant analysis are predictive and classification. The dependent variable is discrimination analysis, is a categorical, and independent variables are matched. What are the outcome? Discriminant outcome of discriminant analysis is the discriminant function. And what are the uses of discriminant analysis? Buyer versus non-word and predictors. The important note we have to keep our mind: the discriminant analysis group must be known, or will dependent variable is a category. The factor analysis, main thing of the factor analysis, the reduce variable into pure underlying factor. The type of factor analysis is a data reduction. Main variables are metric. Output is a factor loading. What are the use of factor analysis? Identify hidden dimension. The important note is the find latent variable or hidden variable. That is the main activity of the factor analysis. Next, conjoint analysis. Determine the value of product attributes or characteristics of the product. Next, important type is the discipline modeling. Variables are attributes and labels. What is the output of conjoint analysis? Which needs its scope. And what is the use of conjoint analysis? Product design and matrix research. These are main important use of the conjoint analysis. What are the important things we have to remember? In case of conjoint analysis, is the simulate and decision. Now we are going to study the comparative table. The statistical analysis, the comparative table is the correlation. Objective of the correlation is the relationship. Objective of the discrimination is the classification. Objective of factor analysis is the reduction. And objective of conjoint analysis is performance. What are the nature? Next important area, the nature. Nature of correlation is descriptive. Nature of discrimination is predictive. Nature of factor analysis is exploratory. Nature of conjoint analysis is making. The case of dependent variable, Only important in the categorical dependent variable in the case of correlation, none, factor analysis, none, and conjoint analysis choice. But in the case of dependent variable, in the case of discriminant analysis, dependent variable should be categorical. This point is very, very important. In the case of discriminant analysis, dependent variable should be categorical. Output of correlation is R value, output of discrimination is function, output of factor analysis is factor, and output of conjoint analysis is function. The memory trick, factor correlation, you have to remember with the correction, discrimination is a divide, factoring analysis a reduction is sure, and conjoint is a preference. It's the choice, C, D, X. Now, we try to solve the previous year question of English net. This question was given, was question of June 2020 about the conjoint analysis. Conjoint analysis, the question is research plan of conjoint analysis comprises the following steps. Arrange the step in order these are. They are given the decide attributes and level, rate or rank data, run dummy variable regression, assess internal and external value, and interpret the part word coefficient. With the correct sequence, is A, B, C, D. The question is why it is step by step explanation. Why this sequence is correct. First one, in the case of conjoint analysis, the step for step should be decide the attribute and level. First, to identify product and service features or attribute and their variables. Variables means level. Example, price can be low, high, or medium. Band can be A, B, C. First, decide attribute and level. Second, step rate or rank data. In the case of respondent, evaluate different combination of attributes and programs. They either rank or rate them based on the preference, rate or rank rate. Number C, third step, the run dummy variable regression. Convert categorical variable into dummy variable. This point is this point is very they use regression to estimate the utility. Okay. Run dummy variable regression, convert categorical variable into dummy variable of each attribute level. Next important, E. Interpret the part word coefficient. What is part word coefficient? They have given the part word coefficient means the analysis regression output determine which attribute gets choice or preference the most. Higher coefficient equal to higher preference. And the final step assess internal and external value. Internal check the model is reliable with the input and the exam. In the case of external, the predictive accuracy for input. The memory take design data, first step design. Design means to decide the attribute level. Second, data means data rank or rate. Third, model run dummy variable regression. Fourth, meaning interpret part of coefficient, and final will assess the internal and external. These are the steps of conjoint analysis. This question was given in the June 2020. The next question. This question is based on the discriminant analysis, research analysis 2, and discriminant analysis. In discriminant analysis, which of the following is true? They have given the independent variables are categorical, dependent variables categorical, dependent variables metric, both independent and dependent variables. The correct option is the dependent variable. dependent variable should be categorized. One concept, first of all, we have to understand what is this discriminant analysis. The discriminant analysis is a statistical technique used to classify observation into predefined groups. The very important area, observation into predefined group, which means a group classification. It predicts the group membership and it is similar to regression. This is why this one is very important. The discriminant analysis also similar to regression, but the difference lies type of dependent variable. The dependent variable in the case of discriminant is the category. Dependent variable is the categorical. Categorical means male, female, yes, no, or A, B, C, like this. And independent variable of discriminant analysis is the matrix. Matrix means numerical in term age movement. Now, evaluation the each and every statement, independent variables are categorical. This statement is wrong because independent variable of discriminant analysis must be matrix. Dependent variable is categorical. This is right because this is the correct features of discriminant analysis. Dependent variables are matrix. Wrong, this apply on the regression, not discriminant analysis. Both independent and dependent variable are matrix. Wrong, only independent variable are matrix. Now, this is the comparative study between the discriminant comparative study between the regression and discriminant analysis. Purpose of regression analysis is the predict numerical number. The purpose of discriminant analysis is classifying. Purpose of dependent variable of regression analysis should be matrix, the continuous, and dependent variable of discriminant analysis should be category. Independent variable of regression analysis is matrix. Independent variable of discrimination analysis is matrix reduced. Objective of the regression analysis is estimate the relationship between the variables. Estimate the relationship. Our objective of discriminant analysis is assign observation into predefined class. Predefined class. Assign observation into predefined class. Output of the regression analysis is regression equation y equal to a plus x. And output of discriminant analysis is discriminant function. As the example of regression analysis, predict income from age and education. In the case of discriminant analysis, example, classify the outcome as buyer and non. The technique of regression analysis is the prediction and estimation. The technique of discriminant analysis is the classification. What are the error measures? The case of regression analysis, error basically residuals difference between actual and predicted. In the case of discriminant analysis, error basically misclassification. So we have to remember regression is based on prediction of value, regression is the prediction of value, number output, and discriminant is a classification of group. Number output, regression, group. These are the important area of the conjoint analysis and discriminant analysis. And another important question of discriminant analysis. Now it's another important question in discriminant analysis. The identify following analysis tool. Conjoint. Identify the following analysis tool will be used to statistical test. Statistical test. Which model will be best describe the relationship between variable when the dependent variables categorical in nature and independent variables are matrix in nature. They have given the four options. They have given here the four options. So they have already, the question has already told, has given the dependent variable is categorical and independent variables are mathematical. So the correct option is the discriminant analysis. Now understand the question. The dependent variable is the categorical. Okay, fine. Independent variable is matrix. Matrix income is categorical means male, female, yes, so like this. Okay, evaluation of the option. Correlation analysis means when the whole variable are matching. Measure the strength of linear relationship. In the case of discriminant analysis, we use the dependent variables categorical, independent variables. The purpose of discriminant analysis to predict group membership and to identify which variable discriminate between groups. That's why this is the perfectly matched for the question. Factor analysis used for data reduction, which is very important point. Factor analysis used for the data reduction, identifying underlying factor and variable, and conjoint analysis used in marketing research. Conjoint analysis used in marketing research. So, these are the important point of discriminant analysis. Classify the observation into predefined group. Time is the predicted. Dependent variable is categorical. Independent variable is the matching. Output is the discriminant function. As the example, bio versus non-bio. Important note, we have to remember group must be known. In the case of factor analysis, main concept, reduce variable into your underlying factor. The time is the data reduction. Variable should be matrix mean. That's output is a factor. And use identify hidden dimension. The hidden dimension should be use find latent variable factor analysis. Use the latent variable that influence data or indirectly observed. In the case of conjoint variable, it's determine value of product attributes. Time is the decision modeling. Variables, the attributes and label, output utility store, uses the product design, market research. Important note, simulate the real decision. What is the comparative analysis of statistical analysis tool or comparative study? Or conjoint analysis based on the relationship. Discriminant analysis basically classification, factor analysis, the best of papers. Nature of correlation analysis is descriptive, nature of discriminant analysis is predictive, nature of factor analysis is exploratory, and what are the output? Output of correlation with the R value, output of discriminant analysis of the function, and output of factor analysis of the integration. So these are the important topic of our unique statistical technique of Unit 9. And finally, I want to say students who have they want to take the digital analysis, want to take the private tuitions and guidance for upcoming exam 2026, you can contact with me to my WhatsApp number 91337. Thank you. Keep touch in this channel, share, and if you have any queries, you can send it.